Super Bowl.
Broadcasting from Radio Row inside the Mandalay Bay Convention Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. You are tuned into Sideline Sports Talk Networks, the W Show on 100.1 FM, Kansas City. Brought to you by Stockman Law Firm, the Solar Center, the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, Golden Gate Funeral and Cremation Services, Gates Barbecue, Positivity Water, Soiree Steak and Oyster House, the Right Tally Tax Preparation, Dillard's Zona Rosa, KC Wheat Spin 360, Derek Thomas Neil Smith III and Long Foundation, Phenomenal Kids Child Care Learning Center, XC Fright, Studio Plush, Sierra Fonseca, Hairstylist in New York Life.
Mandalay Bay Convention Center in Las Vegas. Y'all love that song or what?
I mean, we were vibing out.
All right, we have some more guests that are joining us. We have Dr. Dechali Belanton, who is an accredited investor, stocks and crypto, NFTs, metaverse, and international real estate. And then we also have Darrell Booker, who is with Microsoft. Yes, how you doing, sir? How you doing?
Thanks,
this lady?
Cheers, Dr. J for short.
Dr. J.
Love that. I love that.
You guys want to talk to us about some investing and NFTs and all that good stuff?
Yes, I think today we're going to focus on really just what we're doing with the league, right? Okay. So we're working with a lot of athletes, influencers, and we're helping them financially and mentally get back into space. Okay. So as a neuropsychologist, my focus is mental and financial health. Mm-hmm. So after leaving corporate, being in finance for 22 years, I wanted to get back. And so Microsoft's philanthropy department has come on board and they're helping us with this tour where we're going to individual teams, NIL contracts, and we're teaching mental and financial health. We teach them how to invest. We're not managing their wealth for them. We're literally, we come in with representation like athletes that they know, entertainment attorneys that they've heard of, tax attorneys that they've never thought about. And then we're basically having a conversation about wealth, how to create generational wealth and not just be a one hit show.
Yeah, and not just for athletes, for everybody else. We have a special that just dropped this past weekend on Hulu and Disney Plus called Our America in the Black, where you see us traveling across the country, working with a lot of great organizations that are really, their mission is to focus on those in the community and how they can achieve that financial empowerment and generational wealth.
And with everyone that you all have been working with, how much of it do you see, because you talk about generational wealth, how much of it do you see that when someone doesn't come from wealth and the people in front of them or their parents or grandparents that haven't had anything, they just don't know?
And they don't know. And a lot of people grow up and they really don't know more than the 4-block radius of where they live. So not only is that, lack of career awareness, but to your point, lack of understanding all these concepts to achieve generational wealth. And that's where, we as Microsoft come in. How do we use the power of technology to disseminate information at scale in an easy way that people can, consume it? So when you have someone like Dr. J, who has some amazing, tips and things that people and resources that people can take advantage of, we're partnering together to make sure we can get it in the hands of people so they really know what to do.
And one thing that really stood out to me was the NIL deals. Like, I couldn't imagine being 18 coming into this type of money that you're seeing. So talk a little bit about what type of coaching you guys give them, advice that you give to young ones that are coming into money so soon.
So the first thing we kind of let them know is just a friendly reminder about how they can utilize and protect their name, their brand, their imagery, because, for many years that was something that was being abused. And so the first conversation is that. And the next conversation is, hey, because now you can afford X, Y, and Z, does not mean you have survivor's guilt, right? So we're teaching them how to budget. We're teaching them, hey, not everyone back home gets a mansion or get a new car from you because you have this money, right? So we're teaching them it's okay to put on their mask first. We're also teaching them that it's okay to make sure that your cup is full and overflowing before you give to everybody else. Because, oftentimes they just jump in the game and they're like, look, I'm making it, fam. So, and they think that money is permanent. But realistically, until it's actually in your pocket, you pay the taxes on it, even that conversation, they don't realize they have to pay taxes on it.
And it's not just them, it's also teaching the parents. So the entire household. So many of them are coming from households that the parents don't even understand that concept. If there's a 2-parent household, so imagine a lot of the single parent households.
And then, you also have this other paradigm shift in which our NIL students, we're having the conversation now with them about now that you know that this is a potential, what are you going to do? Because laws of reciprocity, like, you might want to give back, but how do you give back without going broke? Because that's a whole other conversation, because there are ways to do that, because the richest millionaires and billionaires don't use their money and capital for everything.
Right.
They actually protect a lot of their asset class. So we're even teaching them how to mitigate a lot of their expenses. So it's a fun conversation, honestly.
Yeah. And how do you find the athletes that you partner with? I know you partner with the league, but how do you find those athletes?
It's really been word of mouth. So like right now we did this interview, that will be one, right?
Yeah.
And then I spoke at this event called Invest Fest in Atlanta.
Okay.
20,000 plus people.
Yeah.
So when I spoke at that event, I had at least 300 people afterwards were like, hey, I like the way you broke down money. And then from those people, you get people like, my cousin plays for blah, blah, blah. My brother is the head coach of the Dallas, blah, blah, blah. And so before you know it, it's just one person at a time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we started getting the leagues. And then now we're starting to get teams, right? So now we're starting to have conversations with like the Saints and, LSU, or we're having Miami Dolphins. And so it's really beautiful, because it's really just one person at a time. And now with the Disney show, it's just been exponential.
And what's crazy sitting here, not only, just how to handle finances, but how to become an entrepreneur. This bottle of water, you know the significance of that water?
What's that?
It's a black-owned brand.
It is.
Out of Atlanta. And they're actually in the special. They're featured in there. It's an organization called the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs, who's really focusing with young black and brown entrepreneurs and how to leverage money, how to be able to get capital so they can be really successful business owners. So
and thank you, shout out Positivity Water, Michael Orrs in Kansas City. You can find that in stores in Kansas City for if you guys are interested in water. Question for you both: how did you guys get started? I see you with Microsoft, and then you're as seen on Forbes, iHeartRadio, Yahoo Finance, all that. So just talk about the start for both of you.
So for me, I started in corporate finance. So I've been in finance for 22 years. I worked for Credit Suisse. I managed at one point $3.1 billion in money. And then when I left that, I just wanted to be a hands-on mom, actually. So becoming a parent made me want to shift from corporate rat race to like, how can I become a hands-on mom? And that's what made me become an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I didn't know that we were going to create a finance curriculum that was going to go into 400 schools around the U.S. Right. And we did that in like 6 years. And so, but it goes to show that there was a need in communities worldwide for financial literacy. And so that was kind of how I started. I just really wanted to give back and not waste the knowledge I had and be a hands-on mom.
Yeah, for me, it was just passion. So at the age of 13, 14, I was a little nerd, messing with a computer. Went to school at the age of 18, working full-time in tech, graduated through the corporate ladder, CIO, CTO roles. And then after a while, did everything, thought I could, tech startup and all that. And then for me, it was, okay, how do I use all of this knowledge, not only being in tech, defying the odds, oftentimes being only, the black in that field, and especially young. And then how do I use all of that knowledge and experience to be able to, give back and support others who are, coming behind and really need to understand that there's a path that they can be whatever they want to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Question to both of you guys. Was there ever, now with the knowledge that is there ever a purchase that you're like, oh, maybe I didn't need that Gucci bag at that time. Now with what I know, now that's a regretted purchase.
It's not necessarily a purchase per se, but in my early days, I was a part-time party promoter, like a lot of us might have. And I never forget. And like I said, I was working full-time in tech at an early age, making more money than my parents. So I had a 401k and it was growing, but didn't know the significance. And I never forget pulling out, I don't know, maybe about 12 bands to help pay for this party that I didn't make it back. You know what I mean? Yeah. And, just knowing how those investments grow and how that 12,000, 10 years ago, Jatali probably would have been worth what?
I would say at least 15,000.
Yeah. So, I mean, just pulling money out, you know what I mean?
Yep.
For frivolous things and not really leaving in there and really setting it up for retirement.
Yeah.
I think for me, I would think my biggest mistake was not learning about, when I was jumping into real estate, understanding between tenant-friendly states and landlord-friendly states. And so I made a mistake of purchasing a property and renting it out to somebody in a tenant-friendly state.
Yeah.
And she for almost 2 years did not pay me. And then I ended up having to pay the Con Edison, like the gas bill and the heat and electric, because she had a kid. And so her knowing the system, I got jerked. So for almost 2 years, she was living mortgage free. And by the time I was able to like get her out of the place, she lived for almost 2 years for free, There was no money that was going to come back to me retroactively.
Wow.
And I had to pay the heat for this woman. And it was bloody ridiculous. I remember that was one of the worst real estate deals I ever made.
Wow.
After that, I shifted and I sold a lot of my things that were in tenant-friendly states. And I shifted to landlord-friendly states because I realized, like, in 2 weeks or less, they're out.
Yeah.
Like, the sheriff is coming, knocking on the door, like, if you don't get out, we're going to throw your things out.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? This game can be savage.
Yeah.
So that was one of the
Definitely.
biggest mistakes I made in the real estate space.
She just dropped some gems on me.
Yeah.
Everybody else just got
Real quick.
I like that. I love that.
Yeah, definitely.
Question. So Super Bowl, of course.
Yes.
Who do you guys have?
Chiefs.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
There it is.
Go Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
Without a doubt. I'm a Cowboys fan, so I can't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
My teams are not in the game right now.
Sorry.
And then Usher's performing the halftime show. What's you guys' all-time favorite?
You know what? I would say That's What It's Made For.
Oh,
That's a good song.
love
You
that.
know,
Good
that's
song.
definitely one of my favorites. You know.
Well, hold on. I gotta ask you all,
Okay.
Yeah.
as Chiefs fans, what do y'all think about the whole Taylor phenomenon?
We were just talking to Chiefs president, Mark Donovan, just a bit ago, and he's talked about how much that Taylor has brought into Kansas City. I think she's put a lot of eyes on, the city within itself. She's helped a lot of businesses too within the city.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's been
especially
huge.
the jerseys got sold out, right? Like I heard, like your jerseys and swag was just being sold out just because.
Quadrupled. Yep.
Oh God, I love it. I love that.
Put more of Kansas City on the map.
On
in
the map.
people's
I
eyes.
love that.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So I didn't think about it. So that's good for the city of
It
Kansas
is.
City.
It really is.
I agree.
It is.
I agree.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
how do you guys think about and you talk about investments and being in investment space. How do you guys look at really view, the statistic that I think it's less than 2% of venture funds, go towards Black businesses and things like that. Are pretty much, I think what you all are saying is that you're helping these entrepreneurs kind of stand on their own without those venture
So I will.
funds.
Can I?
Oh, go ahead.
So I will say this. So it's really important that as we start to make money, that we invest in the companies and the projects that will allow this number and narrative to shift.
Yes.
So one of the investments I did last year is it's the first Black bank to purchase a Caucasian bank. It's called Redemption Bank. And with that bank, what's cool about them is that they have their own in-house SBA lending. It's the first Black bank in all of America to have its own in-house SBA lending, right? So the fact that they're purchasing a bank in Utah, where it's Mormon country, the fact that the Mormon community has been investing in this, it shows the power of unity, but it also shows when we have our own in-house SBA lending, we can now focus that more of our grants and money can go to Black and brown people.
Yes.
Now, in the average bank, what most people don't know, and I won't say the specific number, but less than 10% of SBA lending goes to Black and brown people, and we all get grouped together, which means Black people,
Yes.
Asian people, Spanish people, all the communities are being grouped together. Less than 10% of that is going to go to you. And, so when you think about that, less than 10%, that means Black people, you're sharing that with everybody.
Yes.
So now when you have, it's a Black owned bank, now a higher allocation of that can legally go to Black and brown people. And we have a better shot. And so I honestly want to tell like our athletes, our politicians, our everyday people, where do you bank and how does your money really go far, right? Because if you're banking at an institution that doesn't really support our causes and are known for redlining, what are you really doing? What are you saying?
Yeah.
So, that's how I look at it.
Yeah, and I mean to piggyback on that, or where you bank, a lot of people don't understand, a CDFI, a community development financial institution, which is, hyper local in your community, and what they do is fund, those businesses. And we go back to 2020 and just a lot that came from that. There's been a lot of money that has been pouring into these CDFIs so that they can provide capital to businesses. So back to what you were saying at first around VCs. One, I do think I don't like the narrative that's in people's head that, okay, I can't be successful unless I find some VC to pour money into me, because every business that's been successful did not come from VC funding. You know what I mean? So one, let's change the mindset a little bit. That funding is good. It's a time and place to get it.
Yes.
The deal needs to be how it is, but also too, there's other ways to get capital where someone's not taking, a whole bunch of equity in your company.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
Business credit. In America, we are so afraid of debt because we think all debt is bad. But in America, honestly, there is good debt. And honestly, if you don't have business credit and personal credit, that is good. Even your personal credit, if it could be a 650 credit score, right? But if you have good business credit, that supersedes everything. You can walk into a bank and in less than a couple of hours have like a $500,000 loan because you have good business credit. Meanwhile, if you have a 780 credit score and you walk in for that same amount of money, they're gonna rock you through the coals, right? They're gonna, I don't need you to fill out all these pages. We need to inspect the property, and you could be using debt in a good way. And so just keeping in mind, like if you're going to invest in a property, are you going to make sure that the interest is going to actually outweigh the con, right? So if your loan is a 2% loan because it's a business credit loan, right? Because we have 1%, 2%, 3% credit loans where you're like for 2 years don't have to pay it back, and the interest you're paying is 2%. Just make sure that your profit is 30%, right? So now you're banking 28%, 27%. So that's another thing I would also say, like in Black and brown communities, we're afraid of business credit and we're afraid of debt and loans. But there are good loans. There are credit cards that are like 18 months, 0% interest. Just make sure you're not just spending to spend and you have a game plan.
Right. How can people find you guys?
Darrell Booker at Darrell Booker, all social media.
Okay.
But definitely then also to check out our special, Our America in the Black, Disney Plus, Hulu, streaming now.
Okay.
And at Jatali Bellington on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that rubbish. But I would say at Jatali, so it's JATALI BELLANTON, and it's verified. So if someone creeps in your DMs like, yo, I need some money, fam, it's not me. That's all I'm saying. It's verified. Just be mindful, yeah?
We appreciate you giving us your time today.
No, thanks for having us.
Thank
Go
you
Chiefs.
so much. Thank you.
We'll have
Go
more guests
Chiefs.
lined up here, broadcasting from inside of Radio Road at Mandalay Bay Convention Center.
Go ahead, say it then. Who the GOAT? Who the GOAT? Who the GOAT? Who the GOAT? Big as the what? Big as the Super Bowl.
Broadcasting from Radio Row inside the Mandalay Bay Convention Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. You are tuned into Sideline Sports Talk Networks, the W Show on 100.1 FM, Kansas City. Brought to you by Stockman Law Firm, the Soul of Santa, the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, Golden Gate Funeral and Cremation Services, Gates Barbecue, Positivity Water, Soiree Steak and Oyster House, The Right Tally Tax Preparation, Dillard's Zona Rosa, KC Wheat Spin 360, Derek Thomas Neil Smith III and Long Foundation, Phenomenal Kids Child Care Learning Center, XC Fright, Studio Clash, Sierra Fontaine.